This animation explains the Model 767-300 thrust reverser system operation and identifies the failure condition that the accident investigators believe to be the most likely probable cause of the uncommanded in-flight thrust reverser deployment that led to the Lauda air accident. During taxi, the reverser is in the stowed position, and the hydraulic isolation valve is in the closed position as the thrust levers are in the forward thrust position. During takeoff, the thrust levers are moved forward, which commands high forward thrust from both engines. Although the reverser sleeves are in the stowed position, if a rejected takeoff were commanded by the pilot, lifting the reverser levers and moving them aft would cause the isolation valve to open and the directional control valve to move to the deploy position, making the reversers available for assisting in slowing the airplane to a stop. Following liftoff, the ground air switch opens and removes power from the reverser switches in the cockpit aisle stand. This prevents thrust reverser selection from being possible in flight through motion of the reverser levers. The hydraulic isolation valve remains closed and the directional control valve remains in the stowed position. If a reverser sleeve is detected to move aft towards the deploy position, the auto restow system is activated, which momentarily opens the hydraulic isolation valve and ports hydraulic pressure to the directional control valve, which forces the sleeve back to the stow position. The purpose of the auto restow system was intended to reduce the risk for an uncommanded thrust reverser deployment in flight. During landing, the air-ground switch is closed and electrical power is again available to the reverser aisle stand. This permits power to be sent by movement of the thrust reverser piggyback levers to the hydraulic isolation valve, which now opens, and then to the directional control valve, which moves to the deploy position. At this point, the thrust reverser actuators are pressurized, and the reverser sleeves are moved aft to the fully deployed position. Investigators believe that two faults may have occurred on the Lauda accident flight that resulted in the reverser to be powered to the fully deployed position and the resultant wing lift loss. The first fault may have involved an intermittent opening of the hydraulic isolation valve, either due to a reverser sleeve sensor signaling a sleeve movement aft, which is the auto restow command, or a hot short wire fault within the HIV circuit. Based upon cockpit voice recorder evidence, this seemed to have occurred intermittently during the first few minutes of the flight. The second fault that was postulated involved an intermittent fault of the directional control valve circuit, which commanded a change in the valve position from stow to deploy. When the isolation valve was in the open position and the directional control valve moved to the deploy position, a powered deployment would have occurred. Investigators believe that a common wire fault in a wire harness which contained both the HIV and DCV circuits may have explained how both circuits could have become energized at the same time.
Okay, recorder's on.
How do you set your high 8 up, Jack, or JT?
They're already going.
Okay.
No, that's fine. That's the best angle. Okay, you should be deploying those
symmetrical reverse.
Momentarily. There they go.
And no asymmetry to speak of.
You got the time in there?
And we're on the stops. There's some buffet, pretty strong buffet, about like stall buffet, and we're descending slightly, but not terribly fast.
Passing through 28.
Looks like we have about a 4,000 foot per minute rate of descent now.
Yeah. The vertical speed is 4,400 feet per minute. Okay, that was into run 1.
Okay, we lost a few tufts and a few cones just outboard of the nacelle.
Oh, okay.
We got some speed tape coming up on a few of the cones near the nacelle too, or near the pylon.
Yeah, just inboard of the center line there. There's some loose tape. Probably lose it on the next one.
Well, at least we're over water.
And we're climbing back through 27.7.
Okay, recorder's on.
How do you set your high 8 up, Jack, or JT?
They're already going.
Okay.
No, that's fine. That's the best angle. Okay, you should be deploying those
Symmetrical reverse.
momentarily. There they go.
And no asymmetry to speak of.
You got the time in there?
And we're on the stops. There's some buffet, pretty strong buffet, about like stall buffet, and we're descending slightly, but not terribly fast.
Passing through 28.
Looks like we have about a 4,000 foot rate of descent now.
Yeah. The vertical speed is 4,400 feet per minute.
Okay, that was into run 1.
Okay, we lost a few tufts and a few cones just outboard of the nacelle.
Oh, okay.
We got some speed tape coming up on a few of the cones near the nacelle too, or near the pylon.
Yeah, just inboard of the center line there. There's some loose tape. Probably lose it on the next one.